Well, here at the Academy Sports and Outdoors Workbench is the CCA Workbench. You can tell we have a full workbench.
Yes, we do.
Dave, I'm so glad you brought Ray in to talk about.
I'm glad he's here, man, because I can't do what he does. I'll tell you this.
Not many people can.
Where Ray sword fishes, it's one of the hardest places to do it. There's a lot of them there, but they're very hard to get to. And you know, if you're trying to do this by yourself, you need a fellow like this to at least show you the way the first time. And if you were going to go sword fishing out of South Florida, where would you even start?
We typically fish, like Randy and Mike said, you know, that 15 to 1,800 foot depth, wherever you see good structure, bait, you know, it's like a lot of other fish, they're going to the food.
So in the daytime, you're fishing on the bottom.
Yeah, nighttime, a little shallower, but on the surface, a little different.
I got you. And what kind of gear are you using when you're trying to target these fish? I know as far as the line, you know, and that.
Well, the biggest thing we face is a lot of current. On the east coast of Florida, 3-4 knots of current. So we're using a heavy weight. This is, I think, about a 10-pound stick lead. We use a long line clip for quick attachment to the top of our leaders. Our leaders are 150 feet.
And it's 150 foot of leader.
And it's 200 pound or?
Yeah, 200, 250 is generally the leader of choice. And this is up near the top where it connects to your 65-pound braid. The reason we use 65 is to cut the water. So that the short version is the water at the surface is going much faster than the water at the bottom. So we literally have to chase our lead.
And that small diameter doesn't put a big bow.
Right. Believe it or not, the difference between 80 and 65, you might have to use 50% more lead.
Wow.
So we can use less lead with lighter line. Getting the Keys or in the Gulf, you know, a lot less current, a lot less lead.
Yeah.
So,
I like it.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this, you actually put lights on there when you're fishing real deep as well.
Yeah, you can use the LP light, but most of the guys, again, because of all that resistance, we'll just take some rigging bands with a little mini light, you know, water sensitive light, make a loop, pass the light around that leader, you know, 3 or 4 times. The cool thing about that, we set these lights at about 30 and 60 feet from the bait. The lead's, of course, 150 feet. But once we take the lead off, 2 things. We take the drag back off, because remember, you had a lot of extra drag to lift that weight and the fish.
Right.
And secondly, when you use these little rigging bands, those bands will slide down towards your main swivel 6 or 7 feet from the fish. So you don't have to even worry about the lights. They'll just hold up at the rod tip.
Is there any color preference for, I know a lot of guys, all the guys are different?
Blue and purple are always my favorites at nighttime, but you know, all of them work. You know, light is just such an attractant down that deep.
Yeah.
So what about the baits, Ray? You know, is it circle hook versus J hook? I see you got one rigged here. What is this?
The most popular is a tuna style bend, like a Mustad 7691S. That is a go-to hook. J hooks are the hook of choice generally because you can foul hook them. You can hook them in the, you know, they get wrapped up in it. It's dark down there.
Yeah.
And you do foul hook a fair amount, which takes us to the drag too. We don't fish an excessive amount of drag, just enough to keep the fish coming up. But I've used circle hooks and caught a few on circles, but every time you pull one off, then the mates change over.
Yeah, right.
They never do that when you miss one on a J hook, though, do they? They never blame the hook when the J hook misses them.
Not picking on them. I can't live without them.
I guess.
But they're biting right now. You know, the bottom line is our crew caught like a 350 a couple days ago. And, and Nick had that picture just a couple days ago. I mean, they're here, so good time to talk about it.
Is this the summertime the best time? Or?
Well, it's the calmest.
Oh, so it's
Seeing
easier.
the bites. Now, stop and think. One last point. You got so much line out there. A calm day allows you to see that bite, which transmitted through that weight sometimes is 1 inch. It's just a little bump. We usually drop back, give them 20, 30 seconds, lock it up.
And hope he's there.
Can I ask him a question?
Yeah.
So Ray, what mistakes do we make? You know, when you get that fish on, I mean, everybody's got their own tricks and techniques, lights and all that, but what's the big mistake that guys make?
Trying to stop a fish when he's making a run. Be patient. Let him burn line. Your reel holds a lot of line, especially 65-pound braid. Don't be in a hurry to pull a hook. Remember, sometimes they're not hooked right in the corner of the jaw, you know? Be patient. And again, when you take that lead off, you're taking a lot of weight off that rig, back your drag off.
And when he's pulling line, he's working.
Yeah,
right. See, you want him to pull that drag because he's working then, and you're going to wear him out.
The one cool thing, a lot of times, like many billfish, they come to the surface. So sometimes you'll get a bite, you know, you'll drop back, hook them up. Sometimes you just see a really small bump and then slack, literal slack.
That's the good one.
Keep coming.
When he's coming.
Keep reeling.
Yeah, he's giving you free line.
He's bringing the bait back to the boat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A good swordfish will do that, Dave.
Yeah, man.
You know what else? A good co-host to take you to another region.
Oh, that's a good one. I like what you did there.
What a transition.
Very nice. Very nice.